I bought this house in the year 2000. I just happened to love the siting and the creek. And having lived near here, I used to come by and see the old gentleman that was coming across the rickety bridge to get his mail. And I used to ask him if he'd ever sell me the house. And I bought the house from his son. So I had an I-beam, pair of arched I-beams that were broken at 11 inches over 44 feet to give me a slight arch on the bridge, and covered it in redwood and gave it a nice treatment. We got the garage done and started with the house, taking it down to the bare bones, which was the original foundation, and it was a very nicely done foundation from the period. The house is themed in the green and green style, and Pat Cook, who I didn't know until this project started, is a master builder and furniture maker and a student of green and green. Pat and I formed and smoothed all the beams in creating this green and green style. He's kind of a student and wanted to do it that way, and he said he never had anybody he could really work with that would let him go the whole distance on this green and green project. So we were happy to work together. Repetitive theme in the house and outside is this cloud lift design that was a Japanese influence. And the exterior, we decided to go with heavy redwood shakes, which came out of Oregon and were kind of hard to get. And I looked up a color I wanted, which was done on one of the green and green houses, the Blacker house, and found that the Cabot stain they used was still being manufactured. And my neighbor down the street, who's a retired Porsche mechanic, agreed to shingle the house because it was very intricate. All the redwood and cedar that had been put up for doors and windows and framing preceded the shingles, so the shingles had to be cut around each of the features that are on the exterior. So the entire shingling job took about 6 months, and it was a kind of a work of art because he's very particular and used to working in thousandths of an inch, so it didn't mean anything to him that I insisted that he cut the shingles around each rock and each wooden feature and then repaint the edge he'd recently cut to put them up. The door knobs in the interior are all hammered copper along with the fascias. The windows, the double hung windows in the living room came out of an 1880s San Francisco house, as did the large door in the master bath. It's a 4-foot wide door that's actually, it was the top half of a huge double hung window because it stands about 6 or 7 feet high, and that's just the top half, but I integrated it into a door. The front windows, the 5-window system that is incorporated in the hallway wall facing the creek, are from the Edgerly Hotel circa about 1908. And I had extra ones, so I incorporated some of the glass from them into the front door, which was done by Brian McNally. And interior-wise, we went with the original 2x6 tongue and groove subflooring we left, and I went underneath the house and completely redid all the pier blocks, increasing the number by about double to give it really good structural rigidity and strength. So in total, the exterior and interior, there is no paint anywhere. Everything is either stained or this Venetian finish. So the interior and exterior are kind of lifetime. You don't ever really need to do anything to them. There's nothing to peel. All the woodwork and trim, moldings, sashes on the windows are all stained and waxed and hold up beautifully. In the 10 years I've been looking after it, there's virtually no maintenance other than wiping it off. The large lantern hanging outside the double doors in the living room is a copy done for me by a lamp maker in Los Angeles who I can't remember the name anymore. But he made that lamp as a copy of one at the Gamble House in Pasadena. The railing which was also a green and green design and full cloud lift, was built by Pat Cook, my green and green builder, in his shop and delivered to me unstained. And we put it together in about an hour because you simply just slide it together. It's not held by fasteners at all. But anyway, so the entire deck, and it's got finger joints on each of the corners. So you've got obtuse, acute, and right angles, all finger jointed together. And that same theme of exterior finger joints is repeated throughout the interior of the house on the external corners. It's got a 30-year roof on it, and it was in the style of the green and green, the classic green roofing, copper gutters. The exterior is done in somewhere between 15 and 20,000 antique paving bricks that I picked up around the state. Around the property, because it was narrow in the back and the two sides, I decided to make it my interpretation of an old Japanese surface drain. So what you have is a herringbone pattern that gathers water as it rains or comes off at a 1% grade from the house or the wall. So you never have standing water, and all the copper downspouts also feed into the gutter, and it all is carried out by gravity to catch basins and then piped into the creek. So the historic drainage pattern has been preserved. It's been modified and modernized so you can walk around and not get your feet wet. So basically the house is kind of like a bulletproof little bastion hideaway, and it's always felt very secure. It's just kind of the perfect house